if there's anything we can agree on, is that Mario and Luigi Dream Team has very good bosses, and we're going to be ranking them today. What we're going to be including on this list is every boss, but no giant battles, since giant battles are so different from normal battles that it wouldn't be fair to rank. No Hoorahs because they have specific rules, and that would just be weird to include. And all the Kamek fights will be included into one fight, the last one. And with all that said, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get started. Smoldergeist is so... why? Like, this isn't even a boss, it's just 4 enemies. Combined with that with a tutorial that nobody asked for, it's a bad tutorial. At least you can skip it, but good gracious. This isn't even a boss, it's just 4 souped up enemies that don't really do all that much damage. Their attacks are okay, I guess. I mean, they're not that special. And that's about it. These are 2 incredibly basic enemies that have no interesting things going for them. You can also only jump. Yeah, that's super interesting and fun. Yeah, let's just move on to more interesting things.
Why? Why does it exist? Who asked for this? Who said yes? Who needs to be held responsible? Who do we need to line up in the backyard?
Okay, I get this is supposed to be like a joke boss, but the Fly Guy Thieves is still not a boss. I mean, okay, at least Smoldergeist was in it, were 4 enemies that you never saw again, but here, you can just find them at the beach area. This isn't interesting. They just have slightly more health and a different shade of color. At least you can do more things than just jump now, which is good. That's why it's above Smoldergeist, but like, these are just 4 of the same enemies, or 3, sorry. 3 of the same enemies that do slightly more damage, have slightly more health, and have a different shade of color. That's it. Moving on. Finally, an actual boss fight. But really, Grobot actually is a pretty decent fight. Its attacks, while basic, they do work and get the job done. You have actually more things than just jumping now, which is cool. But my main problem with this fight is the fact that your only bros attacks are the red shell and the green shell. They do basically the same things and you just spam that for the entire fight. It gets really repetitive really fast. And that's why it's right here in this list. Sorry, Grobot fans, but this is where I put it. Moving on. Okay, now we're getting to bosses that actually have stuff to talk about. Torkscrew is a pretty good boss. It has good attacks that run well. I like the screen chaser, not the screen chaser, but when Torkscrew brings Mario into the background and you're having to jump over him while Luigi dodges enemies. Well, I do think it's weird how there's an attack where he can get knocked on his back so you can do more damage by jumping even though you don't have a bros attack that can jump on enemies yet. I always thought that was weird, but even though Mario is still cursed with a dreaded red shell, Luigi at least has a fire flower, so at least it's competitive once again. But it's still very early in the game, and so there's just obviously going to be better bosses than this, but for what it is, it's pretty good. You know, for a first boss in the Dream World, Dreaming Mario does a really good job explaining what you've learned up till now. Not explaining, but like, it shows you what you've learned throughout the entirety of the Dream World. Dreaming Mario is pretty decent. It has interesting attacks, my favorite being the star one. It references the star power-up for Mario. I don't even have to explain that, but you get my point. Normally what you're supposed to do for this fight is you're supposed to jump to this clone on the side, when Dreamy Mario makes clones, and while it won't do as much direct damage, all the Dreamy Luigis that come out of it will hit Dreamy Mario instead. It really encourages you to think outside the box, and that's why I like this fight. But it is still a first boss fight, and all you can do is jump, so that's why it's at this part of the list. But for a first boss, I think this fight deserves more credit, despite being forgettable. Bowser plus Phantasma is an example of a really good early boss fight. It has good attacks, a good concept for an early boss. I like the screen chaser, it's very interesting. And yeah, it's just a really good early boss fight. And there's not much more to say than that. Popple plus Wiggler is a fight that exists. Now, the first half of the fight is actually pretty good. I like how Popple is more of a nuisance than he tries to help you, like he is explaining that he will, but he doesn't. Wiggler's attacks aren't that interesting, but they get the job done, but I do wish they were more interesting, especially at this part of the game. Now, the Popple fight, on the other hand, is not very good. I like his attack referencing Superstar Saga, but outside of that, it's just a really basic Popple fight, and I wish he had an ally with him. Other than that, this fight just exists, and it's really forgettable too. It is better than the other ones for simply being later in the game and you have more attacks, but like, can I really give it that much credit? It's a Wiggler fight with Popple in it. It's not that interesting, but here we are. Kamek is good, but it has a few glaring issues. One, it's forgettable. It's in the middle of Neo Bowser Castle, so you're just wanting to get to the end by that point, and so it's not really all that interesting once it's over. I'm just like, oh, okay, let's move on. His attacks are good. I like the concept. It is a late game, so you have a lot of bros attacks to learn his attacks. His attacks are very good again. And yeah, it's a good fight, but very forgettable to the point where it's just hard to enjoy it, and I just enjoy the other fights more. Big Massive is the example of a really solid fight. It has good attacks. I like that it combines everything that Hoorahs were that we're not covering on this list, and just makes it into one really good fight. I especially like the screen chaser where he like tries to jump on you using their strength. I really like that. I also like how he brings in a bunch of enemies, and the more you take them out, the angrier he gets. That's just funny to me. But yeah, this fight is really good. That's right, people. You have reached the incredibly, really good stage of these bosses. Rip everyone who was under level for this fight, but seriously, the Elite Trio is really good. Not only does it have a really funny intro, but its fight is just really good. It has so much going on screen, despite being laggy, it really breaks the game for some reason. But it has great attacks. The fact that they work together in order to stay alive is cool. It makes you really think how you're going to defeat them, and it's a really good boss fight. I do admit, the fact that you get the fire attack, I'm not going to look up what's its name, but it doesn't even hit all the enemies, is just really weird to me. But other than that, this fight is really good. So apparently Momoshka was not very liked amongst the community, and I've honestly never understood why. His attacks are, kinda difficult to dodge. Once you do get them, they are so satisfying to pull off. I like how much health he has. It adds some necessary challenge, especially at this part of the game. And he's a solid fight overall. I like the concept of him having to put on hats, and if you don't take out the right enemies, he just puts on a stronger hat and you can't jump on him anymore. And yeah, that's about it for this fight. It's a very good fight. It just barely missed the top 3 because of... Yes, Pelolium is my favorite non-final boss in Mario and Luigi Dream Team. There is honestly no negatives with this fight. I like the fact that you have to destroy his wings to lower his health and defense. I like the fact that he has allies in the background, and if you don't do enough damage to him in time when he's weak, they'll just heal him again. I like his attacks. They're very reminiscent of Dreamy Bowser's attacks. Foreshadowing? Screw foreshadowing. But yeah, this is a solid fight. There are so many great concepts here, and by far the best non-final boss in Dream Team. It's just, the other 2 fights are just incredible. And what is number 2? Oh my gosh, I love the Intasmi fight. It's like everything I wanted in a Mario and Luigi Dream World final boss, but just what this technically is, I think. Well, what is there to like about this fight? 1, his attacks are excellent. They are absolutely excellent. I like the attack rate. If you get hit, you basically almost always go to sleep. That's not always the case, but it is most of the time, and you have to like find the portal to get you out. And if you don't, you have to use gyro controls, which I don't particularly like, but they're fine. And I like that Dreambird's there. He doesn't really do much, but he does heal you 30 HP almost every turn. I like his chase sequence. They make you really think. You actually have to go inside the sphere, which isn't what you think. And yeah, it's just the perfect final boss of the Dream World. The only negative I have with this fight, and this is barely even a negative, is I wish he had more health. That's honestly it. The number 1 spot is just almost a perfect final boss in my opinion. Speaking of... While this isn't my favorite final boss in the Mario and Luigi series, it is really close to being it. Dreamy Bowser has excellent attacks, a good amount of health, has a great concept, and has a great design and excellent music. Let's start with the attacks. He has excellent attacks. For 1, he has a hammer that can slam you down. It's like Pelodium's, but it hits twice. Like when you knock back the first one, he'll go to the next brother. He has a chase sequence where you have to jump over fire, and while it is laggy, it is something you can get used to. He creates enemies so he can eat food and heal. I will admit that meat does look pretty good though. He summons an airship to attack, and if you fail to counterattack it, it'll go into the background and serve as a second attack for Bowser. And yeah, that's almost all of his attacks. Oh yeah, he can throw one of the brothers across the screen if you don't take out his other arm. His attacks are excellent. His design is literally perfect in my opinion. Literally perfect. The music it's excellent. I don't even have to say that. It's literally excellent. Man, I have nothing more to say. This fight is just excellent to me. And that's it. Thank you for watching my video on the Mario and Luigi Dream Team boss ranking. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you leave a comment, please leave negative and positive comments, just so I know how I can improve on in the future. Without that, see you later.